This conference will now be recorded.
Let's see everybody. If you would please stand up and remain standing. Do the pledge of allegiance first. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. John, if you would, please do the please, sir.
Let's all the people here so that we will leave here and go out and spread your word. In God's name we pray. Amen.
Amen. If you'll have a moment of silence for our neighbors who passed away, Bianca Brown and Philip Hastings. Yes, thank you. All right, thank you all so much. Glad to see a good crowd. If you would at this time, please check your cell phones, and I'm going to ask if any of the commissioners have anything that is a conflict of interest on the agenda. Please let it be known now. Next up is the adoption of the agenda as it is. Motion to adopt agenda is ready. Okay. Second.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Next up is public comment. Let's see, I've been given an order here. Let's see. First up is going to be Mrs. Marion Waller, our county representative. For those of y'all know, she represents part of our town. Glad to see you here.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, Commissioners. I just wanted to make sure everybody in the community knows that on Wednesday at 10:30 at the Western Carteret Library, there will be a public hearing for the new Carteret Health Annex that they are anticipating down in Cedar Point. I have no idea. They're coming from the state. I really don't know what they're going to be able to tell us, but I think the building is imminent. They've been clearing the property, as I'm sure you've seen, just west of Megan's Bay, those two lots. So again, Wednesday, 10:30, public hearing from the state about the Carteret Health Annex. So thank you for allowing me to make that announcement. Thank you.
Thanks so much.
Oh, Mary Ann Waldrop, 103 Sandcastle Drive, Emerald Isle. Thanks.
Thanks, Marion. All right, next up is a Tyler Marion.
Good evening. Thank you for allowing me to comment. My name's Reed Tyler. I'm the owner of property on Highway 24 that's subject of a vote tonight concerning 3-acre minimum lot size for churches. I'm here to speak in support of deleting the 3-acre minimum lot size requirement. As I've looked at your UDO, I've noticed a number of contradictions in there with respect to this requirement, and also been made aware of federal law. Goes by the acronym RLUIPA. RLUIPA makes it it's the law for localities to discriminate against churches with their land use regulations. I think if you do not delete this, it's a clear conflict with that law. I really, as I look around the community, I can't think of a better neighbor, better new organization, if you will, in Cape Carteret than a church. Minimum impact on the community in terms of negative impacts that you typically associate with development, where arguably this B20 district has got a long list of permitted uses, permitted by right, on lots as small as 20,000 square feet. In fact, this particular lot that they're trying to build their church on could be divided into 4 lots, but 4 different buildings on it. that's permitted by right under the ordinance. Uses like ABC store, any sort of retail sales, fast food restaurant, medical, lots of things that would seemingly create a bigger impact on the community than a church. As I looked at the facts, I wonder what's the intent of the 3-acre minimum? Is it to reduce impact on the community? I don't think it will. It's simply
Sorry, I got bomb duty tonight.
the 3-acre lot size requirement essentially assures a bigger use, a bigger church. And as you look around town at the land that's available for development, virtually no lots in the 3-acre size, if you will. So you essentially have got a ban on a small to medium church. In fact, I was told that an average size church is far less than what would need a 3-acre parcel. Another thing I find to be a contradiction, this board recently approved a mixed use zoning district for the Triangle area. Your town center district allows a church on a 20,000 square foot lot. If a 3-acre parcel was needed, why isn't it needed in the town center? Your staff has looked through the ordinance, the history of the ordinance. They can't find why this requirement's there, why churches are singled out. They can't find when. Staff has recommended approval of the deletion, and staff identified 11 churches in neighboring towns, Bogue, Salter Path, Emerald Isle, etc. 11 churches on 2 acres or less. So I just ask you to consider all that, and thank you for listening.
Next up is Caleb Murphy.
Good evening, Mr. Mayor, Commissioners. Thank you for allowing me to speak. I'll be brief. My name is Caleb Murphy. I've lived here since 2019 with my wife, Sarah. She's back in the coral sweatshirt back there. We are career Marines. We plan on retiring in the area. We love Cape Carteret, and I want to speak about this issue from a slightly different perspective. As Marines, we've been brought up in a culture of risk mitigation and understanding of risk. And we believe that the town is accepting undue risk in this situation, specifically regarding the UDO that was just discussed. So we have now attended one town council meeting, 2 planner meetings, which have brought up the UDO regarding the minimum lot size for churches. We have not heard any reason or purpose for the ordinance or any serious discussion on the matter. And while multiple legal issues have been presented which make clear the federal statute, my concern is that our town is accepting undue risk by holding on to this ordinance. In addition, from my perspective, the town is putting unnecessary barriers in place for the landowner to conduct business freely with his property in this matter. So as residents, we see this town is accepting unnecessary risk. We've spoken to many of you, and we've learned about the previous fight with the vape shop that was coming into the town center. We understand the fight on that, but we also understand that there was a settlement made in that case. We do not want the town to be accepting more risk for potential lawsuits. So we are glad that the town was willing to fight for the vape shop development. We are happy that it did not result in a lawsuit, but we are concerned about keeping ordinances on the books which open the town to additional lawsuits. I have yet to hear any compelling reason why this ordinance exists and why it should remain, since it clearly violates federal statute. So to me, the solution seems obvious, and I ask that the ordinance be removed in the legal interests of the town and the taxpayers. Thank you.
Tom Stewart.
Good evening. My name is Tom Stewart, and I'm speaking for Island Church in support of our application requesting the deletion of the B20 minimum acreage requirement on churches. We still believe that this land use restriction is in violation of the Religious Land Use Act of 2000. At the last Board of Commissioners meeting in May 12th, you sent our application back to the Planning Board to provide a definitive yes or no recommendation. At the May 20th Planning Board meeting, after our public comments, the Planning Board immediately voted no on our application with no discussion or explanation. Although it was very disappointing to hear that, we also knew from the staff that the Planning Board was not tasked to address the legal issues that are in front of us. We were told that the legal issues about the UDO violation of the Religious Land Use Act is going to be addressed by this board, which we welcome tonight. In preparation, we have provided multiple times the Religious Land Use Act and the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division legal opinion of the law to you and your staff. So I won't go into the details of the law again tonight. I will, however, address the two legal points on our application. First, the 3-acre restriction on churches discriminates against small churches who can't afford or don't need larger tracts of land. And as you heard from Caleb Murphy, as no compelling government interest is documented anywhere in the town records. And as there is none, this restriction is in violation of paragraph A1 of the Act. Second, the 3-acre restriction treats churches in less than equal terms to similar secular permitted uses. This unequal treatment is in violation of paragraph B1 of the Act. In fact, if we were a VFW, YMCA, or other non-religious assembly, we wouldn't even be here tonight asking for a change. We would be further along in the process. So last month, I stood here and stated that the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division actively and aggressively investigates violations, complaints of violations, and I cited 5 statements of interest that they filed in March and April of this year alone. I even discussed in detail an investigation with our sister Baptist church in Chatham County, North Carolina. Island Church, however, does not want the DOJ in Cape Carteret. We want GOD. So please take this opportunity to vote yes and delete the minimum lot size restriction on churches so we can build for His glory. Thank you.
And Charlie Miller next.
Good evening, Commissioners, Mayor. My name is Charlie Miller, and I serve as the Executive Pastor for Island Church. Thank you for your time, and thank you for your service on this board and in this town. I'm here tonight not to argue with you at all, but to speak as a pastor and a neighbor, calmly, respectfully, and with the hope that you'll do what is both just and right. Island Church is what we call a strategically small church. We're not trying to grow into a mega church. Instead, we believe in growing just large enough to send out teams from our congregation to plant more churches, reaching more people in more communities without ever becoming so large that we ourselves lose our Christ-centered, relational, service-driven DNA. That's our mission as a church. Now, we're simply asking for the chance to put down roots here, to build a modest facility that will become a hub of ministry, not just for our members, but for the Cape Carteret community, as well as the wider Carteret County area. We want to offer support to families, resources to those in need, and a place of hope and faith for anyone who wants to walk through those doors. But there's a problem. As you may know, nearly 60% of churches in America, most of them small like us, have under 100 weekly attendees. Many average 65 to 75 people. The current 3-acre minimum requirement in your zoning ordinance effectively blocks churches like ours from ever establishing a home here. We simply don't need 3 acres. We can't afford 3 acres. And we shouldn't be required to have 3 acres when secular assembly uses are not held to that same standard. That's not just unequal, it's unwelcoming. And as you've been made aware, it also puts the town at odds with federal law, specifically the Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act. But more than legality, I ask you to consider equity.
consider what's right. We want to build something that serves the people of Cape Carteret, something that helps, not harms the fabric of this community. All we ask is for the opportunity to do that on the land that we're already under contract to buy. We're not looking for a loophole. We're looking for a level playing field. Please vote to remove the 3-acre restriction and let churches like ours serve this town the way we're called to. Thank you for listening, and may God guide your decision.
I believe that is all we had signed up for the public comment section. Next up is a planning board report. Ms. Petrelli.
Good evening, everybody. I am Meredith Petrelli.
Time's up.
Oh, see y'all later next week. I'm one of the planning board members. I'm here to report on the summary from our meeting held on May 20th. On our meeting, we welcomed a new alternate planning board member, Cherie Higgins, who also served that evening for the absence of Jeremy Granger. We approved the minutes from our April 15th meeting and then held a discussion about the text amendment relating to B20 zoning ordinance. Specifically, we were asked to decide whether we are for or opposed to the decision to eliminate the minimum lot size for churches in the B20 zoning district. Public comments were shared in support of removing the requirement, citing concerns about consistency with the UDO and potential conflicts with the Federal Religious Land Use and Institutionalized Persons Act, or RLUPA. After discussion, the planning board voted 4-1 not in favor of eliminating the minimum lot size requirement for churches. Next, we considered rezoning requests from the Pine Lake condo owners. The property includes 4 townhomes that were built in 1972, currently zoned R30. The owners requested a change for R10M, primarily so they would be able to rebuild in the event of a total loss. The planning board collectively voted to approve this rezoning request. We also reviewed a proposal to amend the UDO in regards to child daycare center zoning. The planning board was interested in this idea, and it was brought to our attention that the town staff would bring additional documentation and a draft of language for review at our next meeting. Finally, we had a general discussion about drones, e-scooters, and e-bikes, and the safety of them in our community. After discussion, it has been brought to our attention that we will monitor potential legislation regarding to authority to regulate the equipment in our area for these items. We look forward to our next planning board meeting, which will be held on June 17th at 6 p.m., and we hope to see you there. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. Next up is the consent agenda. Have a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to adopt the consent agenda.
Second, Ron. All in favor? Thank you. Next up is Veterans Day Parade 2025. Mr. Pete Benton.
I don't have anything, Orla.
Mayor Baker, Mayor Pro Tem Steve Martin, distinguished commissioners, I am very happy to be here today. I'm bringing you some good news. I am the chairman of the Veterans Day Parade for Carteret County this year, and I'm coming to you to kind of share a little history about us. How many of you know that this parade in Carteret County is the largest and the longest running in North Carolina? Good. Thank you, Courtney. Thank you, Steve. We wish you did. Good, Jimmy. Thank you. I've got some good news for you. 2 years ago, I took the opportunity to bring down a United States Air Force Presidential Honor Guard drill team. That was my former unit under the Reagans and the Bushes. And what we did was they performed for actually 14 performances, Carteret, Craven, Onslow County for 10,000 kids. And it was absolutely spectacular. And we really enjoyed it. This year, we're stepping it up. We've already invited the United States Marine Corps Presidential Honor Guard Silent Drill Platoon. I must confess, as a former Presidential Honor Guardsman, the Marines are the sharpest. So Mary Ann, Jimmy, thumbs up. They have agreed. They very much would like to come. And I've also invited the 82nd Airborne Chorus. We also have a Congressional Medal of Honor recipient, Colonel Walter Joseph Marm from Johnstown, PA. Battle of Drang, 1965 will be the Grand Marshal. What we need this year is donations and help. Any, volunteers that we can get. We want to continue to make this parade even bigger and better. And the dream, the future concept, and the future is to embrace this concept with Onslow, Carter, and Craven County and have joint parades during that week. It's going to take some planning, but I think it's something, worthwhile. So would greatly appreciate any financial donations and any support that you can give us. The parade will be on November the 8th at 11 o'clock. Ted Garner and the Garner family at Sanitary Fish Market have graciously agreed to host a big dinner. I will know by September if the 82nd Airborne and the Marine Presidential Honor Guard is coming. The catch is they've asked us to fund their TDY. Okay, so I'm working on the budget as we speak. I've already talked to Mayor Jerry Jones. I've already talked to Chris Chadwick, Chairman of the County Commissioners. They all support it. So I'll be speaking to actually Emerald Isle tomorrow night. I'm reaching out to all the municipalities. This is a great opportunity for the people of Eastern North Carolina to say to our veterans, thank you and God bless you for serving our country. Thank you.
Thanks, Pete. All right, so we have 1, 2, 3, 4 issues coming up that have a public comment section attached to them. Well, 3 out of 4, because one we already had. So we'll start with the ordinance amending Unified Development Ordinance to eliminate the minimum lot size for churches in the B20 zoning district. Consideration of the ordinance amendment and a statement of plan consistency and reasonableness. Gene.
Yes, sir. Appreciate it. So long story short, this was the item that everyone just spoke about in public comment. Very simple amendment. The amendment is to remove the 3-acre lot size minimum from the 20 shopping center. At your last meeting, you remanded this to the planning board. Trailer mentioned planning board met on May 20th. Made some recommendations. Now this request is back for you. That recommendation tonight. That answer any questions?
Okay. Any questions or comments? Gene?
With no questions, I'd like to make a motion to approve, I want to make sure I say this right, approve the request to remove the 3-acre lot size requirement.
And I'll second that.
Okay. All in favor? That is passed 5-0. So we have removed that for you guys that are here that are concerned about that. I would like to say though, the decision was made because, as alluded to, this was an ordinance, and I think a comment was made about finding things in ordinances several different places that we're still struggling with as far as figuring out why we did certain things, and that was one of them. And we didn't know why, and we needed to find out why that was. And so we needed time to figure that out. But I got to tell you, man, the bullying, which is how much I pretty much take it, from the emails and the legal threats, was very, very disheartening. I was just very disappointed in you guys for taking that tack with this board, because we're going to do what's right for the town first. The taxpaying citizens is what we're concerned about here first. The ones that are here now. And anything we let come in nationally, the church is not an issue. The issue was an ordinance that we had. We wanted to make sure that if there was a reasoning that it was in place for safety or whatever, then we wanted a chance to research that and do it properly. And if we're guilty of that, then so be it. And I'll take that guilt all day long. But I'd like to say a lot more, but I don't want to bring any bad light on the town. We'll just leave it at that. So congratulations. All right, next up is rezoning request for.
Excuse me. You got the statement of consistency.
I'm sorry, we got to do the statement of plan consistency. Would you do that for me?
Yes, sir. I'm glad to. Y'all can amend the statement however you want to or adopt it as written. So in the matter of consistency, the church is consistent with the current zoning district. Density and lot coverage will be dictated by stormwater and other regulations. It's a statement of reason. It's not reasonable to limit any single use by lot size.
Okay.
All right, thank you, sir. Now on to the rezone.
Need a motion to adopt the plan of consistency and reasonableness
Okay.
as stated by town manager.
I'll second his motion.
Okay, hang on a minute, Steve. All right, so all in favor for the statement? All right. That's something we started doing with all these.
Yeah.
So bear with us. All right, next up now is the rezoning request for 144, 146, 148, and 150 Pine Lake Road from R30 to R10. If you want to give us a little pre-net, and then we'll do the public hearing on that.
Yes, sir, glad to. So the property owners at the Pine Lake Condo Association have requested rezoning of a .71 acre parcel located at 144, 146, 148, 150 Pine Lake Road. Currently, these parcels are zoned R30 single family. Applicants requested they be rezoned to R10 multifamily. All the surrounding properties are zoned R30 single family. Ordinance does not allow multifamily dwellings in the R30 single family district, which makes these properties existing nonconformities. R10M multifamily and TC district are the only district ordinance that allow multifamily as a permitted use. The planning board met on May 20th and unanimously recommended approval.
Okay. We have a public comment on this, so we're going to do that, and then we'll turn it over to the board for discussion. So I'll entertain a motion to go into the public comment.
Make a motion to go into public comment.
Okay, second.
Second.
All in favor? All right, we are now in public comment. We have several people signed up to speak. We'll start off with Silvio. If you would step up to the microphone, sir. Your time, sir. You got 3 whole minutes of it.
Well, you know what? If somebody interrupt me, there will be another 3 minutes. Believe me. I believe you guys have that what's going on over there. I have a question for the very smart person, Commissioner John Ritchie. I'm here 30 years. He's a good general contractor. May I ask you something? Did you ever have a remodeling and did ask for rezone when you were in your business?
Never.
Good for you. I talked with Frank Rush, talked with another free general contractor who says, never heard that. To rezone this residential, commercial, yes. Rezone if it's not disaster, if something hurricane, twister, okay. We have in my neighborhood 159 or 149 house for 1 year and a half, completely except the wall, windows, and doors. No rezone. It's Star Hill. North of Star Hill, we have dozen houses. You know that. Ron Delzer, John Carpy, whatever, Kane Construction says, never heard that. Next thing. RZ zone in North Carolina law, with my knowledge, and that is what is sent in my phone, and I already showed that to 2 commissioners. If you want to read that, if you rezone that to R10 and it's 1 acre, you're going to develop the rezone often permit to 10 dwelling unit per acre of the zoning. Over there, it's 3 or 4 acres. That means if that's going to pass, we're going to have 50, 60, 80, 100, I don't know how many. And there's going to be domino effect. And after that, you know what? I'm going to buy about 2 acres and I'm going to ask if this guy's zone 10, I want to zone 10 and I'm going to build whatever I want. In other words, you know what let's go stop this. Let's rezone whole Cape Carteret for our zone. Please, let's go rezone that. And who's going to be happy? Who's not going to be happy? We're going to trailer, we're going to RV, we're going to junkyard, we're going to junk this. And our houses, you know what it's going to be? Oh, Titanic. You like that? You want that. Thank you.
Thanks, Silvio. Next up is Kevin Ganley.
Thank you for hearing my comments. My name is Kevin Ganley. I live at 331 Star Hill Drive, and I'm the closest neighbor to this rezoning request. And my concerns are, will this further allow for other parcels in this immediate area to be rezoned R10? If so, we addressed this a couple of years ago, and they withdrew their request. I'm just wondering if this is another way to get their property rezoned to R10. I have a question about why the rezoning is coming up now, when I thought the town addressed this issue a couple of years ago and rezoned parcels in town to make them for multi-family uses. Why wasn't this addressed at that time is a concern of mine. Why is it coming up now, a couple years later? I heard some comments earlier that answered a few of my other questions, so I realize that they want to be able to rebuild if in case of a disaster. So that's no longer a question of mine. I see their point there, but the other issues is what I came to speak about. Thank you.
Thanks, sir. Are you the only Kevin Ganley here? I got you down twice to speak. Only one. Okay. All right. Next up is Dot. Take your time.
I wanted to talk about two things, but I guess I can only.
Microphone down, Dot.
Okay, this is for, I want to let you know that this microphone is not for this room.
That's right.
This microphone is only for this people who are over there, the press, and for the minutes. So whatever you do here doesn't make any difference in this room. And I have been campaigning for a year or two with Frank to try to get a sound system for this room. And that's one of the things I wanted to talk about. And the fact that everybody comes is wonderful, but I wish they would stay, because there is so much that goes on after you have said what you're interested in, because every one of these people speak except for the lawyer, unless he's asking a question. So anyhow, I am going to wing it because I didn't have time. I didn't read the minutes and the agenda until Saturday night. And so today was the first I could make phone calls. And what I got out of the reason for changing the zoning was that the people felt as though they couldn't build back the same thing that they had. They couldn't build back townhouses with the insurance paying for it. So I called the North Carolina Federation, and they said that it's the responsibility of the insurance company, that the state didn't have anything to do with it. So I called my insurance agent, and my insurance agent went there, but the lady that was there at Farm Bureau said that it's what the town puts, that the town's rules is what matters. And at 1 o'clock in the morning Saturday, couldn't sleep, and I got up and I looked at Google. And Google said that usually when it's a non-conforming use like that it's built back with the same plans and the same footprint that it had before. So the fact that you're changing it for insurance is not right. And to me, it's a ploy to try to get those less than 5 acres approved for R10. Because I live on Fairway Lane. It has 2 little cul-de-sacs. And they were going in the first time, they were going for R30 for all of it. And a man had bought the house at the very end, which was 2 lots. And there's an empty lot next to it and my lot across the street. And he said they could just tear down that house and put townhouses. Well, we've got about 16 houses or, I don't know, I didn't count them. There's 1 empty lot that somebody bought just so nobody build there. And I don't want to have all that happen on my street. And I don't think it should be minority rule. I think it should be majority rule. And that's just 4 people.
Okay, watch your purse there fell down. You roll over. Cause you an accident there.
But anyhow, please do come and stay.
Yeah, she said he doesn't speak. She said he doesn't speak.
Good call. Thank you, Dot. All right, next up is a Ginger Gold.
I'm Ginger Gold. I reside at 136 Pine Lake Road. Good evening. Once again, Cape Carteret commissioners are having to make decisions about rezoning. In the case of the 4 existing condos located at the end of the street on Pine Lake Road, one has asked the question, why were these condos zoned R30 in the first place? They have been there for 53 years. Nonetheless, you are confronted with this decision today. Do you change the zoning to R10M? I wonder why this request for the rezoning is happening now. Approximately 2 years ago, a rezoning request came for 2 properties to change their zoning from R30 to R10M. For those of you who were not commissioners at that time, let me provide a brief history. One property was located right across the street from the Pine Lake Road condos, built in 1972. And the other property was on 2 acres of land on Taylor Notion Road. In response to this zoning request, the Star Hill homeowners pushed back very hard against the rezoning of these 2 locations. However, commissioners at that time decided to wait on making a decision, and in the interim, those who requested the rezoning withdrew their request for the time being. It seems as though those who originally requested the rezoning changes came up with a new strategy, which has ended up partially working for them. They were able to get approval for changing the zoning of existing condos built in 1975 on Taylor Notion from the R30 to R10. And then in light of that change, they were able to have the 2-acre lot right next to those condos changed from R30 to R10. And so today you drive down Taylor Notion and you see the results of those zoning changes. Townhouses are being built on the 2-acre lot. No decision you make as commissioner is done in a vacuum. Every decision affects future decisions. It may be wise to disapprove the rezoning of the 53-year-old Pine Lake condos. In the application for rezoning, the Pine Lake condos author has written, these condos are the exact image of those on Taylor Notion Road, which raises the concern that the Taylor Notion Road rezoning strategy will be employed to rezone Star Hill properties. However, if after 53 years you somehow believe the zoning change is the best interest of all Star Hill homeowners and is in some way critical, and therefore you end up approving the rezoning, my plea to you is this. Please add an addendum that will prohibit changing all remaining Star Hill properties from their existing R30 zone designation. Let it be a line in the sand, never to be crossed. When homeowners purchased their properties in Star Hill, they purchased them in good faith, believing the existing standards of zoning would remain true. They believed their closing documents they received. That is, this is a single-family neighborhood zoned to protect that fact. Please do not make any decisions that will undermine the trust these residents have in our community and in the protection that zoning provides. Thank you.
Thank you. Dale Lepp.
Thank you, Mayor, Commissioners. Dale Lepp, 402 Star Hill Drive. She pretty much covered that. I cover a lot of other things also, the safety, the insurance. Insurance companies, they can change it to a dwelling insurance. That doesn't have to be an HO1, HO2, or 4 or 6. They can change whatever they want to change it into to cut insurance coverage to rebuild it as is. Please maintain the current zoning because people, the safety, if you would just try taking a walk in the morning and in the evening around there, traffic's going to get heavier. You either need traffic control devices, speed bumps, something. But until you've walked up 3 miles in my shoes around the block there, you know what I'm talking about. That's all I have to say. Please keep to the single dwelling.
Thank you, Dale. Michelle Barrett.
Thank you, everybody. I am actually one of the residents of the Pine Lake Townhomes, and we are not seeking this rezoning for any kind of nefarious purpose. We actually just found out, I just found out as president of the HOA that we were zoned single family. So it is not, has nothing to do with the rezoning request that was put in years ago. We weren't even aware that we were zoned as single family. All of our residents have been new in the past 10 years, and we just were not aware. So we are just seeking this rezoning request so that if anything were to happen, we would not be stopped for any kind of rebuilding or anything. I just would like to be able to keep our place the way that it is. So I completely support the addendum to keep all remaining lots, you know, as single family homes. We just want to keep our building the way that it is. So thank you.
And Mrs. Holz.
Thank you, Paxson McLean Holtz, 547 Neptune Drive. I'm also speaking for my sister, whose property completely surrounds the Pine Lake condominiums. And we are both in favor of this rezoning, and I'll tell you why. These condos were built by the owners of Star Hill 53 years ago. 53 years ago, before zoning was ever imposed on Cape Carteret. Now, I was a commissioner at the time, and I pointed out to the other commissioners they were making a terrible mistake zoning existing condos non-conforming. I was assured that that would shortly be addressed and changed, and it never has been. Now, I respect Ginger Gold, but she's wrong on a couple of things. The lakeside condominiums were not rezoned until after the rezoning was accomplished for the vacant land where the new townhomes have been built. Those were also built by Star Hill owners in 72, 73, before the zoning was imposed. Now, there is nothing that would hurt my feelings more than to have a fire or a hurricane or a tornado destroy those condos, and they are condominiums. They are not townhouses. There is a document recorded in the, help me here on this, Mr. Attorney, the Unified Development, the condo recording in the courthouse. Yes, but the various, yeah, there is a recorded declaration of those condominiums limiting the condos to 4 on that acreage. The plans are recorded in the courthouse. They have to be built back exactly as they are. They cannot be multiplied. And I am so sorry that folks are so upset and have so many misconceptions about this, because it's just as Michelle said. They just want to protect their homes in case they're damaged. Now, if the board wants to verify these things, wait a while and verify these things for yourselves, and I'll help you in any way as the homeowners would. But it's not for a nefarious purpose. It's not to try to get other things rezoned. And I'll tell you something else. Most of the places in Star Hill, like the lots you referred to, Dot, have restrictive covenants on them. They can't be used for condos. Doesn't matter if the zoning is for condos, the covenants will protect you. If you have enough oomph to stick up and protect yourselves by defending the restrictive covenants. Single family covenants. That's the reason for protective covenants. And gosh knows, as chairman of the ARC, the association that looks after the covenants, it's a thankless job. We don't get paid. There are 5 of us who approve every structure that gets applied for in Star Hill. But verify these facts, if you will. It's for no bad, nefarious purpose. And I'll take the blame, because I suggested to these folks after the lakeside condos got rezoned, after all these years of being non-conforming uses, they applied and received condo zoning. And so I said to these folks, why don't you do it? It's past time to do it. Should have been fixed years ago. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, and that is all we had signed up for the public comments, so entertain a motion.
Mr. Benson, you know that I respect you and your, with all respect. With all respect, your
I'm not going to debate with you. I'll meet you after the meeting.
All right, so that was all for the public comment that is signed up, so entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
Motion to enter a regular session.
Okay, second. John. All right, we're now back in regular session.
Do you want to vote all in favor?
I'm sorry, all in favor? It's been one of those days, guys.
It's all right.
So now we're back in regular session. Any comments or
I got a question.
Questions for Gene?
I got a question for the town manager. Under the current zoning of that property, Gene, if those condos were destroyed, can the owners rebuild?
So, Commissioner Martin, typically with zoning, a use has
180 days before it ceases to exist under North Carolina law. And there's always a way, even if it meant a rezoning at that time, that it was destroyed.
Thank you.
Is that to completion or to?
So this is my opinion, and Brett, you correct me if your opinion differs from mine, because this is probably a gray area, but my interpretation would be to pull that building permit and actually begin construction. That would be my interpretation of that. Because the use would, once that happens, the use has not ceased to exist. There is documentation that that use is continuing.
We had several of these after Hurricane Florence. You may recall that, where certain buildings needed to be repaired and replaced within their footprint after Florence.
Go ahead. Thank you.
Gene, have you ever had any experience with this?
Yes, ma'am, I have. I've not had issues with this in the past. I do have a lot of experience with it, of course, after Hurricane Florence in a
Right.
100-mile long coastal county, managing those programs, but did not have a great deal of issues there in helping mitigate those situations.
So if we leave it as it is, they should be able to rebuild the way they want.
They
Is that
should,
my understanding?
they should be able to rebuild within the existing footprint if they do pull those permits and start some activity within 180 days. Yes, sir.
I'd like to make a motion that we deny the request for rezoning at this time.
Is there a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Okay, all opposed? So it's denied 3-2. Now we need to read the statement.
Yes, sir. And I'd offer this statement again, and certainly feel free to amend it in any way you see fit. For consistency, it's not consistent because the surrounding zoning district and R30 single-family residential, there is no zoning proximate to this parcel that allows multifamily residential to the extent that this may even constitute spot zoning.
Can you say that last part one more time?
Yes, sir. There is no zoning proximate to this parcel that allows multifamily residential to the extent that this may even constitute spot zoning.
I think
For reasonableness, it is not reasonable and in the public interest because it is inconsistent with surrounding zoning and uses and may allow for an expansion of this use that is currently inconsistent if rezoned.
Can we vote on that, right?
Yes, sir.
All right, so
You need a motion to adopt that.
yes, for the statement.
Motion to adopt the statement of plan of consistency and reasonableness as expressed by the town manager.
All right,
I'll second.
all right, all in favor? All opposed? All right, next up is public hearing for the filing of an application of a financing agreement authorized by the NC General Statute 160A-20, consideration of finance proposal from First Bank for property located at 304, 306, and 308 Bay Shore Drive. And if you'll give us just a, we got public comment on this as well, so if you would just give us a summary, we'll go to that.
Yes, sir. Glad to. So as the next step in the process of acquiring the property at Bay Shore, the town board has to hold a public hearing to make application to the local government commission. I've been working closely with them over since last month's meeting to put all of those things in place. Right now, we're on schedule if you decide to move forward for the July 1st LGC meeting. Also included in your packet is a proposal. The town solicited and received 3 proposals for financing. And it's just acceptance of this one from First Bank is when we scored them, we found that to be the most advantageous. Glad to answer any questions that you have.
Okay. Need to have a public hearing on this as well, so entertain a motion to go into the public hearing. Make a motion. Courtney, you were first. Second? Charlie? Okay, all in favor? Okay, 5-0. Now in public hearing, we had nobody sign up for public comment. Do we have anything via internet? No? Okay. Any comments? If none, I'll entertain a motion to go back into the regular meeting.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Second, Courtney. All in favor? All right, we're now back in the regular session. Any questions or comments for Gene?
I think we're on track. Correct.
We are, yes, sir.
Yeah, I think we're making good progress on this.
Anybody want to make a motion? Motion to adopt a resolution approving the final application of the financial agreement with First Bank. Okay, all right. Second? John. All in favor? Next up, ordinance amending Unified Development Ordinance to simplify and clarify Appendix A, chart of dimensional requirements.
Yes, sir. I'll walk through this one a little more slowly because there are some things to point out in this. And certainly it's things that you need to consider carefully, the things that I'm going to point out. Before I arrived here with the town, the planning board considered this item. This is a overly complex, our current UDO, the dimensional requirement chart. But I want to point out the changes. It's all in your packet, but I think it's worth pointing out. So in the R10M, the front yard setback, it effectively reduces it by 5 foot. With the side yard setback, it reduces it by 20 foot. The rear yard setback by 20 foot as well. It is very consistent if you look at the proposed change. In the R13, it reduces the rear yard setback by 20 foot to 10 foot, and it also adds 5 foot to the minimum height requirement. In the TC district, it adds that in totality to that chart since it's a new district, but it does add that. In the B10, it reduces the side yard setback by 5 foot. In the B20, the front yard setback, it reduces it by 5 foot, the side yard by 5 foot. The B30, it reduces the front yard setback by 5 foot, and it reduces the side yard setback by 5 foot. It also adds an addition 15 foot of maximum height to 55 foot. Glad to answer any questions y'all have.
All right, we have a public hearing on this as well. So entertain a motion to go into the public hearing.
Make a motion to go into public hearing.
Second.
Okay, all in favor? All right, we're now in public hearing. We did not have anyone signed up to speak at this as well. Nothing on the internet. Any comments? None. I'll entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
I'll make that motion.
Okay. Courtney. All in favor? All right, we're now back in regular session. Any questions or comments for Gene?
Can you summarize, if you can, I know this, a lot of the discussions predate you here, some of the reasons for reducing the yard setbacks, the property setbacks?
So it does predate me. Just from what I know, this would more modernize this ordinance to more closely resemble what you see in other places and more traditional development.
Okay, so this is just more consistent with
yes, sir.
Modern times.
Yes, sir. And I'm glad to take this back to the planning commission if it's your desire and roll back through it in the coming months. Whatever y'all's comfort level is.
No, I was just curious.
What was the planning board's vote on it?
The planning board recommended approval.
Yeah.
Unanimous?
Yes, ma'am.
So, I'll make a motion to adopt the ordinance amending the UDO to simplify and clarify Appendix A chart of dimensional requirements.
Second.
Courtney, second. All in favor? Okay.
Did you second it?
We did. Courtney
Yeah,
did.
Courtney second.
Sorry.
She beat you.
Hard of hearing over here. Sorry.
Excuse me. Next up is the adoption of the Pamlico Sound Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan. So overview there, Gene.
I'll be very brief on this. So, and I sent y'all an email earlier in the week. This is a 800-page document. It's a monster of a document. I've been involved with several of these over the last several years, in multiple different places. But long story short, this is a document that we need to consider and adopt to make sure that we're not only eligible for pre-disaster funding, but most importantly, post-disaster funding. So after a natural disaster, it's a requirement of the Stafford Act that you have this plan in place, so that you are eligible for that funding. This is a multi-jurisdictional hazard mitigation plan with several other counties in this region. And this is an update. I was a part of the original one, and then also this update until my exodus from the county here 7 months ago or so. So very familiar with this document. Glad to answer any questions that y'all have about it.
All right, and this is our last public hearing of the night. So I entertain a motion to go into the public hearing.
I'll make that motion. Public hearing.
I'll second.
All right. All in favor? Okay, we're now in public hearing for this issue. We had no one sign up for that as well, nothing on the internet. Any comments? If none, then I'll entertain a motion to go back into regular session.
I'll make that motion.
Okay, second. Courtney. All in favor? All right, we are back in regular session. Any questions for Gene?
I just have a comment. I think this is really good stuff that I think North Carolina does. I mean, to me, it just seems like a good way to protect the coastal communities, and so we're not forced to, I guess, pay all out of pocket for anything that happens. So, I really didn't know much about this before becoming on this board, and just over the years learned a lot about these things that the state does to put in place. And I think more states should do this type of thing when there is a disaster. So anyway, I think this is a good thing, and I'm definitely supportive of this.
Agree. All right, I want to make a motion. Nobody else has anything to say? To adopt the Pamlico Regional Hazard Mitigation Plan.
All right. Second.
I'll second.
Oh, John beat you.
Okay.
Okay, all in favor? Motion passes 5-0. Next up is appointment of an ILA representative. As I told you guys at the last meeting, I'll be becoming the chair for the ILA in July. And when I become chair, then I cannot vote. And we'll need somebody from the town to vote. I prefer to be a board member, but if not, then you can naturally pick whoever you like to serve on that board. If you have any questions, I'll be more glad to entertain them as far as the ILA is concerned.
Cameron's not gonna nominate Courtney. I'll nominate Courtney.
I was kidding. You should give me some time, John.
Hey, man. Split for lose.
So Courtney, you've been nominated. How do you feel about that?
I'm excited about it.
Okay. How's everybody else? Everybody good? We get a consensus.
As they would say. Oh,
Yeah.
I think I'll be a good representative for you guys.
Yep. She needs more on her plate to do, I think.
Okay, so we need a motion.
I'll make a motion to.
Okay, and John, I'll second
I'll
her.
second.
And all in favor? Courtney vote for herself?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
Not getting paid.
She's not getting paid. That's right. Just expending your time, but it's a great thing to do. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
We had Charlie Evans, who was willing to step in if nobody wanted to. So thank you for being here, Charlie. We'll find something for you, man. All right, next up is the town manager report.
Yes, sir. I'll be brief because we did have several things tonight. This was a little longer meeting. So yard debris collection, we're about 3 days behind right now. We had an issue with the DEF system on the truck, which I made y'all aware of. About midday Friday, the guys got back in action. Fortunately, those days were some of the days we had a little heavier rain last week. All the same, Ryan and his crews are doing a great job. And just wanted to remind everybody after this debris pickup, the next one's scheduled 1st of August. Cape Carteret Trail on Taylor Nation Road, the portion of the trail on the 58 end is nearing completion. So Sunland plans to use this week, weather dependent, to finish up the fine grading and start paving out there. So excited about that. It also seems that with the commissioners I've spoken with, there's the consensus to hold some ribbon cutting around the reflection area and the kind of the finality of that section of trail. So one very exciting item on the consent agenda tonight is moving forward with the design of the Highway 24 portion of the multi-use path. This is that approximate 1 mile section that goes from Yopon to Bayshore. So we hope to have the kickoff meeting in early July for design of that. And that design and permitting has to wrap up before the first of the year. So we'll be pushing along pretty heavy duty to get that knocked out. Want to give Chief Silva a shout out tonight. He's done a great job over the last several months filling vacant positions, both full and part time. So thank you, Chief. He's hired up right now. And second to lastly, I wanted to introduce Cheryl Honeycutt. She stepped in in the finance director role for us and doing a really good job here most recently, and just wanted to introduce her to the board and tell her how much we appreciate her.
Thank you.
And lastly, it's hard to believe, but Independence Day is almost snuck up on us, less than a month away. So Town Hall will be closed Friday, July 4th in observance of that. Thank you, sir.
Any questions for Gene? No, we'll move on to commissioner reports. We'll start with you this time.
Okay. Not much tonight. I do want to thank Heather, town clerk. We've had a lot of vacancies. We've had a lot of churn from an administrative standpoint, and Heather is the glue that has held all of this together. So I want to just say a special thank you to her because of that. It's important when you get into municipalities and things. I mean, the workload can be intense, and Heather always seems to have the bandwidth to accomplish all of it. And so that's a very good quality in people, and Heather definitely has that. Moving along to some of the townhome comments, I do have to say that I do believe the older townhomes, and I don't know if I'm calling them correctly, but I'm just going to call them townhomes. I think were zoned after the new ones were zoned, and I guess Ginger left, but I will say that was I do believe that was an incorrect statement, and I think that's important to note in that. I think that's all I have right now. Yeah, thank you.
All right. Well, I'd like to thank Mary Ann, our county commissioner, for being here and updating us on the public hearing. I think that's important for everybody to know about, because the extension of the hospital here is great because we're growing, and improving our access to healthcare around here I think is important. So thank you for being here. It means a lot to us. And Pete, thanks for being here and telling us about the Veterans Day Parade. I was in that parade and I had a blast. Mr. Cream was in, and he was star of the show there. But it means a lot to our community. So thanks for doing what you're doing. And I encourage everyone to get involved and be a part of it. You need some help. And then lastly, I'd like to remind everyone that the candidate filing period is coming up for the 2025 municipal elections. The filing runs Monday, July 7th through Friday, July 18th, I believe. So if you've considered serving your community, this will be a great time to get involved, make a difference. So I appreciate you guys. Thanks for coming out. Your turn.
First, I gotta apologize to somebody. That would be you, Mr. Martin. After last meeting, got home, my phone rang, and he goes, "You didn't thank me for the design of the park." And I totally forgot, and I apologize. So, it's beautiful, and thank you.
You're welcome.
That being said, I'll put that later. I want to say, Pete, my dad was Grand Marshal of that parade, and I've ridden in that parade in 10 years since it's gone. But Cape Carteret will do whatever we have to do to make sure the parade succeeds. And if you need any help, he's got my phone number, and I will answer the phone. Being one of the first people, on Heather, I got to get some new flags for my dad. Want to be one of the first people to buy a flag for my dad to hang here in town. I was very honored and very, very proud. I want to say thank you to Heather, because you've had the last 3 months, and then to find out that Tom's in the hospital today. You are the glue that keeps us all together. I want to thank all of you for coming out tonight. It's your town. We want to hear what you have to say. I have my own feelings about certain things, but I will say 2 words. Public safety is our goal in this town. Next.
Thank y'all for coming. I don't have anything.
I want to echo what everybody said about Heather. She is not only the glue that holds everything together here, she's the rock, steady, always has been. I shudder to think what we'd do without her. Pete, thanks for showing up. I'll ask Gene right now to put on the next agenda discussion on the town donating some money for that Veterans Parade. Please let us know what your budget is as soon as possible. And Mary Ann, thanks for coming. You're always here. It's a breath of fresh air to see a county commissioner every once in a while. Don't forget us. Thank everybody for coming out. You know, the votes don't go everybody's way, but we're human. We do the best we can with what we have to work with. I would ask Gene to give the board a little bit more heads up, try to get our agendas to us before Friday before the Monday, so we'd have time to look into those things. I guess that's all I got. Thank you.
All right, and I'm just going to echo everything everybody else has said. In my neighborhood, you can't sling a cat out the front door without hitting a retired Marine. I'm an Army guy. I'm used to tolerating them. It's okay. But that's what makes this town so great. I tell you, I feel like I live in the safest community in America right here. We don't have to worry about peaceful protests today. But sorry, a bit of a smart ass sometimes. I forgive you. So. But thank you all for being here. Like Steve said, you know, sometimes the votes may not go the way you want it to. But the majority of what we do here is try to look out for the welfare of everyone in the town as a whole. And I think this board has done an awesome job of doing that. And so thank you guys for the great job you've done. And as you've seen, sometimes they don't agree. And everybody here, you know, has their own opinion, and I respect that. And I hope you guys do as well. And with that said, we do have a closed session coming up for attorney-client privilege. So I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn this and go into the closed session. So moved. Okay. Second. All right, all in favor? Thank y'all. Y'all have a great week. Thank you. Really? Let's see how the room clears out. Stay in here.